Hi, my name is Emily Burke, and I went to a new student dialogue back in October. And I went to the heterosexual norms in a not so totally heterosexual world. In my group, there were definitely people that talked more than others, but no one was like overbearing or threw people off or anything like that. And so that was good. And then there were definitely people that I don't even think spoke at all, which, I mean, you'll always get, so I mean, it was whatever. And me in the group, I shared my opinion a few times. For me personally, I grew up in a very open community, and so the people that were like, that didn't support gays or gay marriage as much was sort of not new to me, but it was a little different because I'm just so used to having people always just be like open and understanding of whatever your situation is. So it was different. And then hearing everyone's different opinions from like where they grew up and everything was really, it was enlightening for how everything happened. And just like we went over a lot of things. We did a few activities which were interesting in the group, like we talked about, what did we do? We took like this quiz, and to me, because in my high school, because it was so like open and everything, we had multiple like talks about homosexuals and homosexuality and everything like that. And so it was sort of like routine, like we had a few a year almost, and we had a big like Gay Straight Alliance presence in my school and everything. So I took like a couple of those type quiz things every year, and for me it seemed like it jumped out at me what the meaning behind it was, but for other people it took a second for them to like understand. And then we did another activity where we were like, you got a different color, and based on that color you would lose things or people would accept you, and the color that I had would have reflected, if I were homosexual, then it would have reflected how I actually would have been accepted in my hometown, which is pretty cool. But yeah, there were a few people in there who their beliefs were that it was against, it was like unreligious, or they just didn't believe it. They thought being a homosexual was a choice, which to me was just weird, because to me, just how I've been brought up, it's always just been, it's not really a choice, it's just who you are. And it's because it was like, I never chose to be heterosexual, so I never thought about like, like, am I gonna be homosexual or heterosexual? And so it was just strange to me to see that people truly believe that, and like, I don't know, everyone who shared their opinions though was very like open to everyone else's, and no one was like, no, I don't believe that, like, you're wrong, sort of thing. And so that was really good, because like homosexuality is such a fiery topic, and so it could have easily gotten out of hand, and people could have easily gotten their feelings hurt and everything. And so there were a couple of points that people brought up that like that other people didn't receive as well, but they told them in a very like polite manner. They weren't like, oh no, I don't believe that, like, you're wrong, sort of thing. It was like, well, that's not what I think, but, or like, because, and then like people were very courteous of each other, and talked for a while about, we also got on the topic of suicide, which was interesting because seeing how, because it was like, back to the color exercise, to see like how you'd be accepted and what you would lose and everything. One of the groups lost everything, and then I don't think they necessarily committed suicide, but that's the next topic we got onto. And some people didn't believe that would be enough to force someone to suicide, but for me, I thought losing everything and everyone I had grown up with just because of that one thing about me then like I saw that as maybe not like an option that I would take, but I could see that as someone taking that option and that making sense. So yes. I thought that it was interesting, but I thought it was a little bit long. Like mine went for the full amount of time, and so it got a little redundant after a while because once everyone made their original points, it was just like them repeating them back at each other. I don't know. I mean, it was kind of interesting, but I think if it was just shorter, it would have been, people would have been much more engaged. And if it was more of a, in my group, we sort of did too many activities, and we should have just talked, I think. Because it was so much like, oh, let's take this quiz and go over our answers, and let's do this other activity and go over those answers. And it was just too much. We should have just gotten down to business and talked about it.